So I suppose we can talk to Morgan and Giselle while we're in the garden.
I understand you have spared the Grey Wardens from destroying what goodwill was left them. 'Tis good of you, considering the weakness Corypheus exploited was their own doing. Still, should a true archdemon one day arise, they will no doubt be needed. Or so they would have us believe.
Okay, but you literally know yourself that they are needed, Morgan. Oh god, I'm gonna regret asking her this one.
You seem to know a great deal about elven law.
The Dalish are not the only ones interested in the distant past, Inquisitor. Indeed, my skills allow me access to places the Dalish dare not even dream of.
Fuck off.
The ancient elves hold secrets they have not yet given up. Secrets about the foundation of Thedas itself. Thus, they are my focus. Corypheus clearly feels the same.
I'd like to know more about you.
Ah yes, whence comes the mystery woman slinking her way into the Inquisition's ranks? Once I was an apostate, living well away from the banal influence of the Chantry in the Kukari wilds. Then came the Fifth Blight with its darkspawn, and I left Ferelden for the Empress's court. 'Tis certain the nobles of Orlais breathe a collective sigh of relief that I am now here.
It's odd that an apostate could live so openly.
It confuses those who expect apostates to cower and hide. I stand boldly before them and demand to know why I need some Chantry mage to teach me to control my power. They would put me on a leash so they can feel safer at night. I am uninterested in their comfort. Naturally, it helps to have friends in high places.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight.
The Blight began in the Kukari wilds, so yes, I experienced it firsthand. Indeed, I fought at the hero of Ferelden's side for a time. He is the reason the Blight was defeated. In the end, what he did for me, I will always be grateful.
Aww.
And after that, I came to Orlais. The last place one would look for me, or such was my hope.
The Orlesian court seems like an odd place to find someone like you.
That was the point, originally. I knew the Empress was intrigued by the arcane, and that I could answer questions no Chantry mage could. Thus, we fit together nicely. I became her advisor, and she my benefactor and source of refuge. The moment Celine perished, my time in court was done. I do not miss it overmuch.
Tell me more about your son.
He is a very special young man.
Special in what way?
In every way. At first, Kieran was a means to an end. But as he grew, I never thought of myself as a mother, Inquisitor. I had no good example to follow. I find myself becoming something I can barely recognize.
I think it's really sweet how
I'll leave
she
you to
cares for
God.
Kieran so
Of
much.
course.
And so well. Alright, Giselle. Whoa, what? Trying to talk to you, bitch.
Inquisitor, the soldiers say you banished the demons at Adamant and freed the Grey Warden mages. I understand from Sister Leliana that the truth is somewhat more complex, but no less extraordinary. She said that you spoke with a figure in the Fade that seemed to be the soul of divine Justinia. I suspect many of the faithful would like to know what Justinia told you.
It wasn't Justinia, just a spirit imitating her. Whatever she said is irrelevant.
Those who have been cast down, the demons who would be gods, began to whisper to men from their tombs within the earth. And the men of Tevinter heard, and raised altars to the pretender gods once more. A verse from the Canticle of Threnodies, reminding us quite wisely to avoid the whispers of demons.
Okay, she wasn't a
Now,
demon.
Is there anything I can help you with?
Growing up Dalish, I heard little about your Chantry. Can you tell me about it?
Of course. Too many think that the chant of light should only be sung by humans. The truth is that knowledge of the Maker and Andraste should be open to all who wish to learn of him. We believe the Maker created us, and that mankind's sinful nature caused him to turn away. With Andraste's blessing, the Maker will forgive mankind once the chant of light is sung from all corners of this world.
What is your stance on magic?
Andraste put it simply. Magic must serve man, not rule over him. However, those words must be put into the proper historical context. Andraste led a rebellion against the Tevinter Imperium, whose magisters controlled most of the world at the time. Even then, she never called for all mages to be put to death. She believed in peaceful coexistence.
I don't recall the Chantry being as tolerant of
I
magic
am
as you
very
describe.
distracted right now by the clipping
Chantry
happening
is
with
an
this
imperfect
character
vessel, pulled in
and
every direction
Giselle.
by those who would steer its course. Yet the Templars rebelled precisely because divine Justinia was not restrictive enough. Perhaps the Inquisition will find a better way.
The better way would be dismantling it entirely, but nobody seems to listen to me.
Why does the Chantry allow only human women to become priestesses?
The official doctrine is that elves and dwarves have turned further from the Maker than humanity. And as for men, the chant holds that they are more vulnerable to anger or passion. But in truth, it is simply political, added after Andraste's death, like too many of our beliefs.
If you don't believe these restrictions are what Andraste wanted, why haven't you tried to change them?
Has the current state of the world not taught you the folly of fighting too many battles at once? I chose to use what power I had to help peasants forgotten by the nobles of Orlais. I believed there would be time to address their inequality under the Chantry once we had saved them from starving.
There were calls for an exalted march to put down the Mage Rebellion. What was your opinion?
It was ignorant gossip. An exalted march only succeeds when it carries the will of the people.
What a
Even then,
retcon.
it cannot be undertaken lightly. People are too easily frightened. We cannot destroy everything they fear. An exalted march is justified only against a true threat to this whole world. It is an offense to the Maker to use it as a political bludgeon or as a means of spreading the chant of light.
That's all it's ever been used as.
A pity voices like yours were not louder when an exalted march crushed my people.
That is a hotly debated matter in some circles of the Chantry. Your people had conquered Montsemerd and threatened Valreo itself. They were not helpless victims.
Would you
But
prefer
even
we just
then,
lie down and
Orlais was
accept
the
it?
only
What the
nation to
fuck?
provide troops. It was hardly an exalted march of all the faithful. The Maker wishes his world to spread by example, not by war. We win no converts with blood.
And yet that's exactly what you keep doing.
Farewell.
Be well, Inquisitor.
Okay, so here's the fucking thing. The last time I tried to sit in Judgment, the game glitched beyond repair. So I'm really, really scared that it's going to do it again and I'm just never going to get Blackwall back. So let's hope for the fucking best. Oh, thank God.
Adamant's influence continues, your worship. I submit Lord Livius Erimond of Virantium, who remains loyal to Corypheus. We found him alive, offering extreme resistance, likely because the Order will ask for his head. In more colorful terms. To say nothing of justice you might personally require for what was suffered in the Fade.
I'm struggling to understand how judging you can make up for anything that happened.
I recognize none of this proceeding. You have no authority to judge me.
On the contrary, many officials have communicated that they will defer to the Inquisitor on this matter.
Because they fear. Not just Corypheus, but Tevinter, rightful ruler of every piece of ground you trod in your pathetic life. I served a living god. Bring down your blades and free me from the physical. Glory awaits me.
Well, fuck it then. Yeah.
Lord Erimond, any protection you thought you had has apparently been withdrawn. You will die. By my hand.
Petty actions. Truth lies in the next world.
Another of the lingering pains of adamant, your worship.
Oh my god, just give me
Seruf is a
Blackwall.
senior warden of the Order. She was one of the many who slit the throat of another to bind a demon. She does not contest this. In fact, she surrendered to us. She requests no mercy. She wants the public justice of the headman's axe.
You were free to rejoin your comrades, and yet you present yourself here.
There is no excuse for my actions. I murdered another of the Order. That blood marks me more than the Blight ever could.
Accepting their actions while thralls of Corypheus, many treaties allow wardens any extreme if it opposes the Blight.
I can't do it. I can't use the greater good to justify my crimes, as if it would create a future I could be a part of. It is wrong that this broke me. I've done worse with full sanction. I can do nothing except be an example of the cost.
We doubt when we're safe, when Blight is not at our throat. I can't judge a warden, Seruf. No one has that right.
You have more faith in the Order than we ourselves have.
Blackwall?
First, this wasn't my idea. It is an issue born of titles
Oh
and
my
heir
God.
apparency and... Halam Shiral is having difficulty freeing trade routes formerly controlled by Duchess Florian. Had she been tried, her assets would be forfeit and considerable bureaucracy avoided. So they ask that we judge her.
Are you serious? I did my part. She's dead.
I like how it cuts to the
That
box
was the
as if
time
the
allotted
box has
for
something to
rebuttal.
say.
Her crimes negated any claim to... Forgive me, there is an odor.
I call for rehabilitation. The skull shall do public theater about the evils of evil. I also judge the box. End table for orphans.
That's quite enough, Inquisitor. Point taken. Before you is Service of the Minratha's Circle of Magi.
Oh my god.
You met him
Still
and his
not
Venatori
Blackwall.
in the Western Approach. He admits to working for Corypheus, raising monsters and using magic for conquest. He also used his connections to smuggle magical artifacts out of the Approach, without his master's consent.
You stole from Corypheus. I don't know whether that's stupidly brave or bravely stupid.
I was hired by a third party. I've no loyalty to him. Might you find that useful, your worship?
I'm sorry, are you attempting to bargain with us?
Bargain? I plead. I throw myself on your mercy. I also have friends in Tevinter who owe me large debts. Leave what happened in the Approach behind us, Inquisitor, and I can put them all at your disposal.
Someone who can smuggle magical artifacts to Tevinter and back shouldn't be wasted on court diplomacy. Bring those artifacts back to the Inquisition, procure something really useful, and we might loosen the shackles.
Your worship knows value when she sees it. I won't disappoint.
Okay, now it must be Blackwall.
Mistress Pulin of Sarnia
Holy
is accused
fuck.
of aiding and abetting the Red Templars.
This is
in
what
the
I get
Days.
for avoiding judgment.
She sold a quarry to them for a handsome sum. They used the quarry to grow red lyrium by enslaving townspeople. The only extenuating circumstance, Mistress Poulin was procuring supplies to keep the remaining townspeople fed.
She literally sold people into slavery. I don't give a shit about her reasoning.
Good intentions don't negate a debt. Or a crime.
My crime was misjudgment. The land sale was meant to bring prosperity in hard times.
Yeah, Logain said the
Surely
same thing.
it was clear you were selling to the enemy.
We were starving, and they told me they'd reopen the mines. Selling the quarry so hastily was a mistake. I did what I could to rectify it.
I can't let you go free, but I can give you an honest living. Mistress Poulin, I sentence you to work as a scribe of the Inquisition. Half your wages will go to the town of Sarnia.
A drudge on this cold rock? As you command.
Wait, what? Oh my god, I forgot to do the war table mission to get him back first. Okay, now I should finally be able to judge Blackwall.
For judgment this day, Inquisitor, I must present Captain Tom Rainier, formerly known to us as Warden Blackwall. His crimes... well, you are aware of his crimes. The decision of what to do with him is yours.
I didn't think this would be easy, but it's harder than I thought.
Another thing to regret. Using your ties to the underworld to free me. You're a criminal, same as me. The world will learn how you've used your influence. They'll know the Inquisition is corrupt.
Once the world is back to normal, no one will even remember this.
I'll remember. I accepted my punishment. I was ready for all this to end. Why would you stop it? What becomes of me now?
You have your freedom.
It cannot be as simple as that.
It isn't. You're free to atone as the man you are, not the traitor you thought you were or the warden you pretended to be.
The man I am. I barely know him. But I have a lot to make up for. If my future is mine, then I pledge it to the Inquisition. My sword is yours. If I'd said anything less, would an arrow from the rookery have snuffed me like a candle?
Take your post, Tom Rainier.
Glad to have you back, bud. Okay, so while I was at the war table, I unlocked a couple of things, including the Emerald Graves, Elven Ruins, and the Frostback Basin, which is what I'm gonna do next, but before taking care of those things, we have a couple of companion quests to do. And plus Leliana's thing, which is, I think, what I'm gonna do now.
It's just as I remember it.
You didn't tell me you'd been here before. After the Blight ended, I came here to see Justinia. She was just Dorothea then, a revered mother. So, where's this hidden treasure? Straight to business. It's why I like you, Inquisitor.
Leliana, is that you?
Sister Natalie, what are you doing here? I thought you were in Val Rayo.
No, I've been here since Justinia died. This place makes me feel like she's still with us.
Inquisitor, this is Natalie, a trusted friend.
Wait, Inquisitor? You brought the Inquisitor here? My lady, forgive me for not recognizing you earlier.
Bigger things to worry about than that.
Oh, I see.
Natalie, listen. There is something hidden here. Something Justinia left for me.
Oh, really? What is it?
I don't know, but we'll find it. I'm curious to see what brought us all here.
See, the thing is, I seriously doubt Amaris would have picked up on Liliana's signal that Natalie can't be trusted. So, like, the minute that Liliana said Natalie is a trusted friend, Amaris was just like, oh, okay, sounds good.
Verses from the benedictions every Friday? That canticle was Justinia's favorite.
Yes, of course. We'd never give up the traditions of a most beloved divine. That is lovely to hear.
I stare up at the breach sometimes. It's terrifying, but beautiful in its way.
It is beautiful.
Have you seen it by sunrise?
When the sun rises through it, it splits into what looks like 1,000 suns, like a broken mirror.
Yes, spectacular, isn't it? You must be careful, Natalie. Justinia's enemies are making their move, vying for position and the Sambar's throne.
What was that?
Looks like we opened something.
It's the Ark of the Covenant.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Leliana, stop! What are you doing? I'm protecting us. They never sing the benedictions here on Fridays, Natalie. Something so simple. And you got it so wrong. I wanted to believe, but you were lying from the start. Keep that pretty mouth shut if you must, dear. You've already told me everything I need to know. The prickleweed burrs on your hem, talking about the sun rising through the breach. It all points to a single place. Morel in the Dales, Grand Cleric Victoire's bastion. She sent you, didn't she? Victoire was always an opportunist. Who is this Grand Cleric? I've never heard of her. An experienced cleric. She never agreed with Justinia, but kept her ideas to herself. I suppose now, with Justinia dead, she thought she could make her move. I want to know what this Grand Cleric planned here. She sent Natalie here to see what Justinia was hiding, no?
The Inquisition has turned Thedas away from the true chantry. It must be stopped.
Stop us? You must be joking.
Mother Victoire is well loved by many. The Inquisition has more enemies than you know.
And
It's about to have one less.
Ally with them. If we let her go, she'll just run off to her cleric, won't she? Likely.
Kill me then. I am not afraid to die for my beliefs. At least I still know what I believe.
This has to be done. You know it.
I see what you've become. The righteous stand before the darkness, and the Maker shall guide them.
No! This can't be it. There's nothing here. Check again. Perhaps the box itself is a puzzle. She seemed the puzzling sort. No, it's just an empty box. There's a message carved in the lid. The left hand should lay down her burden. She's releasing me. The divine has a long reach, but it is always her left hand that stretches out. 1,000 lies, 1,000 deaths. Her commands, but my conscience that bore the consequences.
She apologized in the Fade. She said she failed you. This is what she meant.
All this time, Justinia carried the fear that she was using me, just like I'd been used in the past. But Marjolaine's games were trifles. Justinia gambled with the fate of nations. She needed me. No one else could have done what I did. She knows that.
Sacrifices are necessary. You know that.
I know. And hearing you agree gives me the courage to do what must be done. Justinia tried to save me, but all it's done is made me realize I don't need saving. There is work to be done. I'll see you back at Skyhold.
I like that line, Leliana realizing she doesn't need to be saved. There's nothing wrong with her.
Grand Cleric Victoire wishes to make an enemy of the Inquisition. I'll give her what she wants. Doesn't Victoire have a young cousin? Lord Firmin? She dotes on him.
Yes, mistress. I believe that is so.
Good. Have him collected. He shall be an honored guest, and make sure the Grand Cleric hears about it.
At your command.
Is everything under control?
Perfect. The Grand Cleric and others like her will fall in line soon enough. You see, when I'm ruthless, it gets us where we need to be. It's something to be proud of. Why fix it? How funny that her regret is what finally puts my own to rest. I chose to become her left hand, knowing what it meant. It was my weakness that stopped me from fully committing to my task.
You have a good heart. It's not a weakness.
You are too kind, Inquisitor. Call it what it is. The Inquisition needs me just as the Divine did, to do what no one else dares. Death and deception are my trade. It is what I am. It is what I always will be.